Dobar dan svima, dobrodošli na kanal DP Veliki pozdrav. I kao što vidite, pošto nemamo nešto puno vremena, ne možemo da odradimo nijedan komercijalni let. Malo ćemo se baviti treningom. Trenirat ćemo. Ne znam ni ja tačno šta ću raditi, ali ajde da vidimo da probamo. Dobar dan specijalac, dobar dan. Veliki pozdrav za tebe, dobrodošao, kako je?
Let's get you familiar with the aircraft, a Cessna 172, and a few commands to navigate it through the skies. In front of you is the yoke. The yoke is like a steering wheel, more or less. Turn it left or right to control the ailerons and bank the aircraft into turns. Look at the trailing edge of the wings while turning the yoke to see the effect on the ailerons. Okay. Now, the difference between the yoke and a steering wheel is you can pull or push on the yoke. This controls the elevator at the back of the aircraft to make it climb or descend. Look at the horizontal stabilizer while you pull on the yoke. You can see how it affects the elevator. Nice. Down at your feet are the rudder pedals. They steer the aircraft when you're on the ground. The upper part of the pedals also control your brakes. In the air, they control the rudder at the end of the vertical stabilizer to yaw the aircraft. This is mostly for small corrections. For coordinating turns or compensating for a plane's tendency to pull left during takeoffs and climbs. Look at the vertical tail while operating the pedals to see the effect on the rudder. Great. Last but not least, the throttle is located near the center of the cockpit. Pushing forward will increase power, pulling back will decrease power. First, look at the throttle and select it. Keep it selected and push it forward to increase power. Power is increased. Now pull it back to decrease power. Power is decreased. Now we'll do the same without focusing on it. Deselect the throttle. Look away from the throttle and increase power. Set your throttle to idle. Excellent. When the engine is on, you'll be able to see the power change on your RPM indicator. You will find it on your PFD screen in the top left corner. The art of maneuvering a plane through the air isn't a mystery to you anymore. Now it's time to test the skills you've learned. As you can see, we're cruising at 6,000 feet on a north heading of 360 degrees. Start by descending to 5,500 feet while maintaining a northerly heading. While descending, reduce throttle to avoid overspeed. While descending, reduce throttle to avoid overspeed. If your speed is in the yellow section of the airspeed indicator, it means you are overspeeding. That's good. Reduce throttle to idle and pull gently on the yoke to slow down. Now climb to 6,000 feet and turn to a south heading. On the Cessna 172, you need full power to climb effectively. Start the climb when you're ready. You can start the climb when you're ready. Start the climb when you're ready. You put your plane in a dangerous situation. Now climb to 6,000 feet and turn to a south heading. On the Cessna 172, you need full power to climb effectively. the training airspace, you need to go back. That's good. The turn was good, but try to climb faster in the future. All right, next exercise. Maintain your heading of 180 degrees, stay at 6,000 feet, and adjust your airspeed to 80 knots. That's good. Your speed was well managed, but your altitude needs to be more accurate. You did well, but you can do better.
You need to set parking brakes to request ground services.
Hello. Today, we're going to go over all the steps that precede turning on your engine. Those steps are essential to ensure your aircraft's integrity and that everything is in order for a smooth and seamless flight. First of all, stretch your legs a bit and take a look at your aircraft and your surroundings. We never took much time to look at our aircraft from the outside, so take your time if you want to inspect it. You might have noticed some extra bits on your aircraft. These are the covers and chocks. Covers are installed when the plane is not in use and are meant to avoid damaging its sensitive parts. Chocks are there to immobilize the aircraft. You'll need to remove them before takeoff. And we're done for the outside. Now that we're sure your aircraft is functional and ready to taxi, let's check the inside. Let's get to the matter at hand. You've been given an EFB, also referred to as an electronic flight bag. It's a tablet that stores critical flight information and is the ideal tool to prepare your flight plans and enhance your piloting experience. Open it and take a look. Feel free to follow a quick guided tour of its features. tell you that we're sure your aircraft is functional and ready to taxi. Let's check the inside. Let's get to the matter at hand. You've been given an EFB, also referred to as an electronic flight bag. It's a tablet that stores critical flight information and is the ideal tool to prepare your flight plans and enhance your piloting experience. Open it and take a look. Feel free to follow a quick guided tour of its features. The UFB features an interactive map, a flight plan editor, aircraft and current flight information, a nav log as well as fuel and payload options. The UFB has plenty to offer, but if you want to get directly into the action, you can turn it off after you finish the quick tour. It seems like we're all clear on the checklist. Now start this pretty bird up. Now that we've covered all the preparations, let's get to the good stuff, shall we? Let's take a moment to talk about taxiing. Taxiing refers to moving the aircraft on the ground under its own power. In particular, getting from the ramp out to the hold short point on the edge of the runway. Steering on the ground is managed through the rudder pedals. That's right, unlike driving a car, we turn by using our feet. Okay, ready? With the throttle idle, release your parking brake. Okay. Now, gently increase throttle to get the aircraft moving. Add power to start taxiing. Go easy on your throttle. Use your rudder pedal to turn left and enter the taxiway. Increase throttle to gain forward momentum and then reduce RPM accordingly to match a fast walking speed while taxiing. Now, test the brakes. Good. Brakes checked. Taxi to the next exit, then come to a stop. Remember to control your speed with throttle and brakes. See the crossing in front of us. Stop before it, as if traffic was coming off the runway. All right, taxi to holding point Alpha 1 next. It's at the far end of the airport, near the head of runway 21. Stay as close as possible to the taxiway center, marked by the yellow line, and watch your speed. After the right turn, come to a stop before the hold short point, in prep for takeoff. You've mastered that lesson. The next challenge will be to keep the aircraft under control while at full throttle for takeoff. There's an old saying I like. A mile of road will take you a mile. A mile of runway will take you anywhere. Taking off isn't hard, but there are a few key points to remember. First, we always take off into the wind, which won't be an issue on a calm day like today. Second, Before we enter a runway, we always make sure it's clear. Check to the right to see if a vehicle is on the runway. And to the left to make sure no other planes are approaching. Runway numbers are not arbitrary. Each number matches the first two number of the runway's compass bearing, rounded to the nearest 10 degrees. For example, a runway orientated towards the north would be numbered 36, which is 360 degrees on a compass. Everything looks good, no cross traffic. Go ahead and taxi into position. Now slowly taxi onto the runway and align the plane with the center line. Then stop your plane just after the number 21. Excellent. All right, let's do this. Apply full power, and I'll walk you through the takeoff as we go. Use your rudder to stay on the center line, and keep pushing power until you reach 55 knots. Gently pull back on the yoke. And we're airborne. Line up the top of your instrument panel so it's a couple of inches above the horizon. That'll pitch us up and set a good climb attitude. Maintain 75 knots, and we'll reach our target altitude of 5,500 feet in no time. Focus on flying straight. Use your rudders to remove the left yaw our plane has when climbing. You can see your current yaw input by looking at the MFD's slip skid indicator. Maintain 75 knots and climb to 5,500 feet. Okay, 5,500 feet. You've reached your target altitude. That was a nice takeoff. For this landing exercise, I want you to focus on the yoke only. We're close enough to the runway to land safely without adding any throttle. Maintain a speed of around 65 knots. Pitch down if you're going too slow. Pitch up if you're too fast. Keep your airspeed at 65 knots. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. To flare means to raise the nose of the aircraft to slow your descent for a softer landing, but without ever leveling off or climbing. The main landing gear will touch down before the nose wheel does. We're coming up on flare height. Resist the temptation to pull back. Now, focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now, apply the brakes progressively to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop. Use rudder pedals to stay on the center line. Well done, but there's room for improvement. Keep in mind that approaching the runway at the right speed is key to a good landing. In the first part of this landing exercise, I want you to stay on the glide path by using the throttle. You can make small corrections with the yoke to stay aligned with the runway. Smooth action on the throttle is key for remaining on the correct glide path. If you find yourself too high, reduce your power. If you're too low, increase it. Remember though, always make soft corrections. You don't want to overcompensate. Now you can use the elevator to land. Reduce throttle to idle. Now, focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now, apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop. That was excellent.
Momci, to bi bilo to za danas. Hvala puno što ste gledali ovaj stream i vidimo se sutra popodne, ako ne sutra popodne u nedelju. Ja vas do tada pozdravljam, veliki pozdrav, uživajte i ostanite mi zdravo.